My name's Terry McClure. I've got Sue Colley here.
Hello, everybody.
And
Happy Sunday.
And we're actually in Sue's house today because we thought we'd come in and do a live while we're here because we've got a few of these things to sell. They're cool, aren't they?
They are. They're absolutely amazing. They are our collab snaps.
Yep.
And I'll show you them here. This is what they look like out of the packet. So we've got our orange ones. I've got heaps of them because I give them to people as they come into my house. We've got the daytimes and we have the nighttime ones.
What do you think they cost though?
What do I think? I know what they cost.
Okay. What do they cost?
They cost $274 for 28-day supply.
$274. Is that a lot of money?
Well, not really if you want to have healthy, if you want to get your hormones imbalanced.
But what if I couldn't afford $274?
Well, the way what I would say to you is, what price do you put on your health?
Yeah. There's a lot of people that I know that put that question to me. And I had one lady come to me and she said, you know what, Terry? She said, I know that's a lot and I'm really scared of failing. But if I break it down, it's just a cup of coffee and a cake a day, isn't it really? It's like $6 a day.
That's right. And the thing is, what you've got to think of, you're going to get more out of it than that, in terms of your health and wellness and how you feel.
Yeah.
Like these things have done so much good for so many people in the few months that we've been using them, me included, you included as well.
Yeah.
So, if we can break through those barriers of those thoughts, then we can help more people.
But how many boxes how many people would you say that you've sold since you've been doing this? We've been doing this for 8 months now.
Oh, I've probably helped with just snaps alone, probably 50 people, 50. I would say. Yeah, 50 people.
Yeah.
Because they get access to our body transformation system, which is low GI food, doing your fasting 4-4-12.
Yeah.
Plus, as well, they get access to the fat program and they get a mentor.
They get a mentor. One of the cool things about these guys, though, is that if you can't drop the bottle.
No, I've got to actually just quickly grab the bottle because I've had 5 clients that have dropped the bottles. I'll show you.
So one of the things is that when you have a bottle and the bottle drops, so it's like that's your product gone, isn't it? So one of the cool things is that the snaps actually stop you from doing that. And all you've got to do is take the snap and then fold it over, put it in your mouth, and it snaps, and you've got the product in your mouth.
So these are the actual drops. So they do exactly the same thing. The only difference is that the snaps have noni in them. So I wouldn't say they're sweeter, they're just a different taste to the bottles. But these are glass, and you get two. You get the daytime and you get the nighttime ones. So for me, I take both. I take these and I take the snaps as well. But I have had 5 clients that they've dropped them, and you don't want to drop them. $250 a pop, and you drop one. So I do sell more snaps than I sell the drops for that reason. But as Terry was saying, in the back, they've just got a really, really thin line. You just put it to your mouth and just snap it and you just suck it out.
But you know what they're saying is that some people say that the drops in the bottle work better than the snaps. And you know what happened?
What?
The reason was that people don't actually suck them long enough. So they think that they're not actually getting all of the goodness out of it.
Well, you've seen how long I sucked that, and look, it's still coming out.
Yeah. Just keep sucking, girly.
I absolutely love the nighttime drops. Like I'm not a really good sleeper, and especially when my husband's away, but I find the nighttime ones. Now, you have to remember how you take these things, but with the nighttime ones, you need to take them about 45 minutes before you go to bed. Get off your devices, like try not to be on your devices. Watching TV, reading a book, that's fine. But really, really calm your mind. Get off the blue light and just try and really relax. And they give at least, that's just my dog. He's having a scratch at the back door. That's what happens is that you need to really prepare yourself to go to sleep. So, but look, we have these, as I said, I've probably sold 50 lots.
Have you had many people that it doesn't work for them?
Only if they don't follow the food.
So
like anything.
I went into a shop the other day and this lady was there and she goes, "Oh, my friend has been taking your snaps." And I said, "Oh yeah." And she said, "But they don't work for her." And I said, oh, okay. So the friend came into the shop, so I was standing there, and so I said to her, I said, I heard that the snaps aren't working for you. And she looked at me and she went, oh, no, they're working. And I said, oh, they're working, but I heard that they weren't. So I said, can you tell me what's not going? She goes, no. She said, but do you know what happens to me? And I said, what's that? She said, I have the best sleep ever. And I said, oh. She said, so I like taking the purple one just by itself. So I said to her, yeah, but you've got to take the orange one as well, because the purple one and the orange one actually work together.
They do,
so you've got to take the orange one, and then you get to take the purple one at night. So that's like your lucky bit, or your treat for the day, and then you go to sleep. Yeah. So I love it.
I just find that they're so convenient.
Yeah.
And, you just pop them in your handbag. So you take 3 a day, the 3 orange ones per day, and then you take the mauve one at night.
Yeah.
And really, I just think that they're easy, and what do they do, Terry?
Yeah.
What do they do?
Well, they cost $274, right, for a box of snaps, right? So I think that's a decent thing for me to lose a lot of weight. Now, if you all know me, the one thing that I wanted to do was to make weight loss affordable for every woman. And this stays within my parallel, it stays within my parable that I want to do and changing women's lives. So everybody can afford to do it. And it will actually, really change your life because of the hormones and the cortisol and everything else that goes with this. So it's not just a quick fix. But what about those women that say to you, oh, I can't spend this money on myself?
Well, the way I look at that is we can always look after ourselves. And by just having, to step through and think about yourself. Now, I always put myself in this position. If I wasn't well enough, or I didn't want to get off the couch, or I didn't want to go out and play with the kids, there's a reason behind that. And the reason is generally because people are overweight. So, if they can look through that and just see the benefits of getting some weight off, then, that will make you feel better, your family's better, your husband will be better. And I think to break it down as well, we can do the 7-day snaps or the 14-day snaps or, that kind of thing. So there's always options. It's not, but I think we as women don't put ourselves first enough, and we everything that comes before.
I don't know about you, but when I was raising kids and I had $40 left in my purse, it always went on the kids.
Yeah,
still,
100%.
Always went on the kids. And I think there's lots of moms out there that do that. And we would always go, oh, what did kids need before us? But there's got to be a point where we have to start to look after ourselves a little bit, because if we don't ever look after ourselves, we're never ever going to be the best mum, because we either going to be sleepy, or we're going to have no energy, or we're going to, we're just going to take second best all the time. And there's got to be a point in our lives where we go, I'm worthy. I am actually worthy. I'm your mother and I love you, but this little bit of money that I'm going to take for me is just about me. And I, as I said, I know more than anyone that when there's not enough money in the kitty, you just don't spend it on yourself. And that's how I started in this business, is that I was fat and overweight, and I had $400 in the bank, and I decided that I would go and buy some fat blaster pills. And
we've all done that.
and that, my $86 that I spent on fat blaster pills, and then a lady pops up called Carmel Nimarector, and she said, why don't you try my program? And I did, but that took all of my money. So that left me $10 for the week. And I always say, when I started this business, I had $10 to my name. And someone had to feed me for that week. So that was how I survived that week. And then I got a little bit of money the next week. But, I decided that I didn't want to be the fat bridesmaid at my sister's wedding. And so that took preference over me spending that money on myself. And yeah, I went without, and yes, I struggled that week, but there's always a way, and I don't know about you, but I'm a big believer in the universe. And if you think poor, you're going to be poor forever and a day. And, you've got to come at it with the law of abundance. And I promise you, I'm doing the law of abundance at the moment in my life. And, I'm thinking that, if I keep pouring out into the world, it's going to come back and it will reap. You reap what you sow. So all the goodness that you pour out, and at some point in the time, Mum, you have to look after you. There's got to be a point where you go, I've got to be the best version of myself for my kids. And what type of grandmother do you want to be? I didn't want to be the grandmother that was in a wheelchair. My family all died at 62. I didn't want to die at 62 with my mothers. I didn't want to do that. And I wanted to live. And, that was a big factor for me. I chose to live. And I think all mums should choose them for a little bit.
I think that's a really good point. Like, my mum died when she was 59. And for me, when I turned 59, I was turning 60. I was really worried. I was really, really worried that something was going to happen to me. And, over the last couple of years, I've had a few health issues, and it was contributed to my weight. And, you come face to face with a disease that, is eating away at you because you are carrying extra weight. And I think sometimes we just need that smack in the face to say, pull your head in and do something. And I've done that, obviously, over the last few months with these products. But I think too, until you keep putting things off, and then there comes a time when you're like, shit, I really need to do something about myself. And I think, a lot of people sitting out there probably listening to us are in that position where they've just got to take that leap. And, we've got some options for you in terms of payment as well. So, we can do certain things. But, I think that it's time that, you just kind of took the bull by the horns and did something about it, because that's really what I had to do. I was forced into it.
What about the mother that says, I don't want to fail again?
Well, no one wants failure, right?
No one wants failure.
No one wants to fail, but the thing is, and I always say this about the FAT program, I always say it, and I'll say it till I go to the grave, is the FAT program is like a comfy old pair of shoes. You know when you slip your foot into those shoes and you think, I'm home, I'm comfortable again. And we all know that the FAT program works. We all know that you get the best mentoring. So, the scaffolding is there for you guys.
I've heard you use that twice today.
You have? Yeah. And it's true. It's true. Nobody can do anything alone, right? No. And we at FAT scaffold you for
it's your word today, isn't it?
Today. But it's true.
The word of the day is scaffolding.
Scaffolding from Susie Collier. We will scaffold you and we will help you as much as we can, we possibly can. But when it all boils down, the work is done by the person either losing the weight or the person trying to build a business, which we do as well, right?
Yeah.
So, we can give you everything we've got, but when it all boils down, you need to make that conscious decision to do it. And I think the failing part is part of that, because so many people have failed for so long with their weight. But with the mentorship, you're halfway there, really. Yeah. That's what I find with FAT anyway.
Yeah. I lost 17 kilos in 40 days. And what happened there was that I didn't want to be the fat bridesmaid for my sister's wedding. And I decided that nothing was going to stop me. Like, that was it. It was be the fat woman, Terry, or lose the weight. What are you going to be? And which woman do you want to be? And so it was really a decision. Every time I put something in my mouth, I was like, no. And I got myself to that point where I was like, I'm really scared to put something in my mouth. But it was that click of the switch in my brain that was going, no, just no, Terry. No, you're not going to fail. And I think that comes down to my why, and every one of us has a why. But it was my why that was so strong at this point that I was going, no, I am not going to fail. And I think every one of us has to dig deep, and dig deep into the bottom of your pits of your gut and go, do you want this, or do you want to change your life? Do you want to be in a wheelchair when you're 60, or do you want to walk with your grandchildren? Do you want to be on dialysis, or do you want to? Because that was my choice. My kidneys had started to fail, so I was always looking for dialysis, or I was going to be healthy. Which one was I wanting to be? And the next thing for me was, I did not want to be the grandmother that gave my children colouring in pencils for Christmas. That was why I started a business, and that was the that was the little bit of money that I was earning. So for me, it was was that I'm not going to fail. And you know, like you can hear me now in my voice when you talk to me about failure. I'm not very good at failure. You know, I fail sometimes, I sure do. But, you know, I give myself enough kick up the backside to get myself going again, you know. So if you're thinking about, you know, looking after you, and you're thinking about what do I need to do to change my life and what do I need, the Collab drops are the best thing that we know out there that will help you lose 10 kilos without any huge stress. They're going to cost you $274, and, you know, all you have to do is put a message down the bottom for us and say Collab underneath us, and we will send you a message and get you sorted out for do this. But for $274,
life changing.
It's life changing.
They really are life changing. And you know, my kidneys are still. I've got to go this week and get my results. I just had a whole heap of blood tests done, and I know in myself that I'm going to get good results because I've done the work.
You've done the work.
I've done the work. I've got the weight off, and you know, I'm not finished yet. I've got more to go, but I know that I have done everything possible. When my mum died at 59, I remember going to the doctor and I said to him, I want you to check my heart, because my mum died from a heart attack, right? And he said, well, we can do that. He said, but you know, you have to put the work in yourself and get yourself healthy, which I did. You know, so I think that when you've had people that pass in your family that are very close to you, it makes you really, really think about your health. And, you know, I'm nearly 62, Terry's 66, you know, and I think that you really need to know that, you know, you can do it. It doesn't matter what age you are, but if you're in your young, if you're 20 or 30 and you're just having your children, I know it's hard. I've had 4. I know exactly what it's like. I know what it's like to put everyone else before. But when you get to my age at 62, and I know myself, I have done everything possible I can to be healthy.
And to be there for your grandchildren.
Be there for my grandchildren.
That's the idea, isn't it?
That's it. So
$274.
That's Australia.
Send us a message. We'll hook you up and get yourself started.
If you want more information, just write info please, and we'll send you off the information. You can have a read of it. We have got product available in Perth. We can send it out, and I'm going to say this: free shipping for everyone who buys a box.
There you go. Free shipping for anyone that buys a box. They're onto it.
Free shipping. You're onto it.
Okay.
Have a great night, everyone. Catch
Lots
you
of
later.
love.
Bye.